Yo, yo, welcome to another episode of WWE RAW Reactions here at Trippy Commentaries. It was a pretty epic episode because we are getting ready for this year's Money in the Bank event, one that will give us a brand new WWE champion, and we have a lot to get to, including our Money in the Bank preview. My name's RJ. I am joined by Kyle.
What's going on, everybody?
And live from Washington, D.C., our nation's capital, Corey, you've always been very patriotic. You have to feel very good there in our nation's capital.
Well, actually, RJ, tonight was a pretty good Raw, but here in the nation's capital, I am feeling a little bit under the weather this week, so hopefully our viewers out there can sympathize. I'm hopefully going to kick out of this cold, make a big Mick Foley comeback in the next few days, and be good to go for the Money in the Bank pay-per-view.
All right, well, hang in there, Corey. Maybe see if you can find some Tussin-X or something, and hopefully you can pull out a strong performance here on our Raw reactions because we have a lot to get to. Like I said, I know we've been getting a lot of letters in recently here at Trippy Commentaries headquarters. People are not very happy about our recent firing over Retro Brett, but I'm sorry, guys.
Get over it.
I mean, let's be real. Retro Brett is a B+ commentator here. And, you know, that sometimes you just the cream kind of rises here. We had to fire him, and unfortunately, Retro Brett, we kind of have to strip his nickname, so FPS Kyle, you will now be Retro Kyle.
Let's do this.
Yeah. Wait, what the hell's that? No, is that did a glass just break? What the hell?
What the? Brett, get off me,
Brett!
I'm afraid I've got some bad news for you, Kyle.
Oh, man.
What
Brett,
are you doing?
put him down. Put him down. Oh, no. Retro.
Oh, man.
He just power bombed him. Okay.
You can't strip my name. I'm the one
Wait.
and only Retro Brett.
Oh, no. Oh, Kyle's back up. Stunner.
Oh, no.
Stunner. Stunner. Stunner.
I don't want your name.
Well,
I'm FPS Kyle. You can be Retro Brett. Come at me again. I'm gonna fuck you up.
Whoa, whoa. Okay, all right. Let's settle down. Settle down, guys. Settle down. Retro Brett, take a seat. It's okay.
All right.
It's okay. Just stop power bombing people. You can be in it for now. But next week, it will be a one-on-one match. FPS Kyle versus Retro Brett. This will be a ladder match. And in that briefcase, we'll hold some mystery items. I don't know. We'll figure it
there
out.
can be only one there, FPS Kyle. You're going down.
That's an
Stop
epic
living in the
match.
past, Retro.
All right, let's go ahead and get to this episode of Raw, guys. This is serious business. This one started off kind of surprisingly. We had Stephanie McMahon coming out. I thought it was very, just very ominous with all of the ladders around. It really got me excited for this, of course, upcoming Money in the Bank event. Ladders everywhere. And Stephanie had a pretty big announcement, which involved Vicky Guerrero. We know the shenanigans that Vicky got into last week. She ended up getting sideways projectile vomited all over. And apparently she had some bad news coming. Corey, what happened?
Well, as you said, we kicked off with Stephanie coming out to the ring, and as we saw last week, Vicky kind of took the blame for Roman Reigns spiking the coffee, apparently with Ipecac syrup, maybe? Some sort of agent that induces vomiting of some sort, projectile vomiting, much like seen in The Exorcist. And tonight, Vicky Guerrero ended up getting called out, and man, Stephanie McMahon just went she tore into her, dude. It was pretty bad. She basically said, after the fans had kind of started off with an Eddie chant, of course, referring to her late husband, the great Eddie Guerrero. Stephanie basically said that after his death, they sort of tried to take her in, and make her a diva, and that didn't work. So they made her a manager, and that didn't work. And then she was a GM, and first, Stephanie said that she fired Vicky in the classic Vince McMahon voice, and Vicky said, don't fire me. I'll beg, whatever. And then Stephanie decided to change her mind and said she can either be fired or keep her job if she can win her match tonight. And she said, Vicky, of course, said, I'm not a competitor. I'm not a wrestler. And Stephanie ended up saying that she would be Vicky Guerrero's opponent later on in the evening. And, of course, Vicky ended up saying, yeah, I'm a Guerrero, and I know how to lie, cheat, and steal. That's what Eddie taught me. I'm going to beat you tonight, blah, blah, blah. Guys, I don't know about you, but I felt like this was a really lackluster way to kick off Raw this week.
It was a surprising start. I was intrigued by the match, mainly just because I wanted to see Stephanie, in gear fighting, even though it was against chubby Vicky there. We'll see if we eventually saw that. Not much else to say except we have a match that we have to get into here fairly shortly. That came further on in tonight's Raw. But let's go ahead and get into this Usos Wyatt family kind of matchup here. We had first Jimmy Uso going against Luke Harper. Pretty interesting introduction we had for the Wyatt followers. It was of course, the popular got the whole world in his hands chant, except made kind of creepy. So that was a little bit interesting. But we had Jimmy Uso going down by a quick victory, clothesline by Luke Harper. Yep. But that eventually turned right into Jey Uso against Eric Rowan, where Jey Uso won. So it's kind of 50-50 there. But in the end, it was the Wyatt followers who kind of knocked the guys out, had the ring to themselves, where the Usos conveniently left their title belts behind. And the Wyatt family had a pretty fun time grabbing those and showing them out to the crowd. What do you think about that, Kyle?
Well, RJ, I just didn't see the Usos being able to defeat Harper and Rowan. Obviously, they pulled some shenanigans there to try to when Jey took down Rowan. But, the Wyatts, to me, are just way more of a powerhouse than the Usos. And it's a good little rivalry that's going to keep going. The two of them, especially with the
Wyatt family there.
Yeah, with the Wyatt family going against the Usos, that's going to be good battles to come, from here on out.
Absolutely. This was, of course, setting up the big matchup that we have in the Money in the Bank, of course, tag team matchup battle. Corey, what'd you think about this showdown here?
Well, I thought it was an interesting setup to have the four different tag team partners square off in singles action there. I thought there was as we've seen previously, this was a really good blend of styles. The Usos have that, fast, almost high flyer style, and the Wyatts are just pure powerhouses. We saw Harper get the first victory, and then Jey Uso got the second one after the Superfly splash. And, afterwards we saw kind of a brawl, and the Wyatts kind of got the best of it. And, they sent the Usos into the steps, which was huge, and there was a big clothesline, man. I mean, they really lambasted these guys, just completely tore their heads off. And looked really strong. They grabbed the tag team titles and kind of stood in the ring, and, with their character, they were almost kind of blankly looking at them and like mindless cult zombies of some sort. But something interesting I noticed tonight, guys, is that this tag team of Rowan and Harper, I heard a lot of no chants from the crowd, which certainly is a contrast to the sing-alongs with Bray Wyatt that seem to happen.
That's a good point. Well said, Corey. I didn't even think about that till you said that, because I view, of course, the Wyatt followers, Luke Harper and Eric Rowan, as big-time on-the-rise wrestlers here. These are big guys. They're pretty good fighters out there. But, we all expect them to take the Usos titles here. But as Corey just said, the crowd was not responding nearly as... Bray Wyatt's the popular one here. Apparently these guys aren't doing so well. That said, they're still probably going to win the title.
Well, it appears that popularity isn't by association. I like Luke Harper and Eric Rowan, but their ring attire gotta change. That green monkey suit just has to go. And I don't want those trunks either. Can't do that.
I like it. I think it fits with their, with their whole gimmick that they play off. Obviously,
Persona.
Bray Wyatt is, he's the big superstar of their group there. These kind of guys are just his goon squad, kind of follows him around. So I don't think they've really connected with the fans yet to get to that level. Usos really have done a lot to connect with the fans. I think a lot of people like the Usos. But I still think that this is going to set up for more tag team matches going forward.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, I mean, if Bray Wyatt ends up winning the title and then these guys get the tag team titles,
That'd be crazy.
Bray Wyatt, we will hear, he came out after this, after the guys were looking at the title, he came on the big screen, gave another excellent, just speech here where he said he was so proud of his followers there. And, hey, he called himself the World Eater.
Yeah.
With him having the championship title potentially and those guys having the tag team titles,
Power.
they could all of a sudden become, perhaps, they could obliterate the Shield all of a sudden as far as power. All right, we saw Rusev and Lana go sightseeing in Washington, D.C., Corey. What a video that was, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was pretty funny. This was classic. Honestly, this reminded me of like a 1980s like Hulk Hogan era promo or vignette that they would show, on the old school stuff of classic foreign, the Iron Sheik, Nikolai Volkov. It's a classic McMahon formula. You take something topical involving a foreign country, preferably somebody that we are here in America in some sort of political conflict or something with, and you just insult the USA, and the crowd instantly reacts to it. It's always worked. I mean, you can go back to the days of the Worldwide Wrestling Federation, way back, even before the WWF. We're talking 1960s, 1950s. We've seen these same kind of gimmicks, and it always works. This was great. We saw Rusev wearing a cool pair of shades, and he had his hair pulled back, and he was wearing a nice suit. And, of course, they touched on the whole Vladimir Putin thing, which, it's getting over more and more, man. They've been booking Rusev so strong. Retro Brett, what are your thoughts as far as as far as long term, what the perhaps the potential is of Rusev, both in the ring and as the character Rusev?
Well, I think the sky's the limit. Obviously, dissension creates ratings, and they're doing a great job of it with Rusev. But I'm getting a little tired of him just beating up smaller jobbers. They have to put him with someone his own size, and until that happens, it's getting stale, to be honest.
I understand. This is not the last we heard of Rusev tonight, and perhaps he does have a challenger that it's not necessarily a new challenger for him, but it is definitely a challenger, and I'm sure it will lead to a match that we'll have to discuss coming up in Money in the Bank. I was excited for the next event here. We had a pretty cool situation. Paige came out as a commentator. I've been begging the WWE to give Paige more of a character. Stop making her just win her matches, and that's it. I want to see her have a storyline. Perhaps this was somewhat of a storyline. She came out and commentated, really showed to me that she can be funny and great on the mic. I love her English wit and her witty retorts that she has. Alicia Fox had a match with Naomi, and apparently this was for her spot to challenge Paige at the pay-per-view. But Cameron also showed up, the other member of the Funkadelics.
Yeah, Funkadactyls.
Or Funkadactyls, whatever the hell you want to call them. And Cameron was kind of bickering back and forth with Paige. That's the most that I took out of this event. That said, Naomi won. It was a pretty decent match. Between the commentating and the match itself, I was impressed. It was good to see a diva match that had me, had me watching and entertained. So I guess we will see. It's going to be Naomi versus Paige in this upcoming pay-per-view. Is that right, Corey?
Yeah, that's what we're going to have for the Divas Championship at Money in the Bank. It seems that they're teasing a split of the Funkadactyls, with Cameron being the blonde-headed Funkadactyl. I think her name actually is Trinity or whatever. I think she's going to end up being the one going heel, probably at Money in the Bank. I can see her costing Naomi, her tag team partner, the big Divas title match. Quickly, RJ, I got to say, I really disagree as far as the match itself. I mean, the action in the ring wasn't bad. Paige wasn't necessarily bad, nor was Cameron. But they focused way too much time on the commentary and showing the banter back and forth between Cameron and Paige, rather than actually showing the action in the ring.
Yeah, they did. I felt that match between Naomi and Alicia Fox, like, it was just definitely handed to Naomi just to set this up for Money in the Bank. I think the real storyline they were trying to build up there was Cameron trashing Naomi while she was in the ring, and then Cameron trashing Paige, and then the two of them going at it. And at the end, it's kind of weird. You know, Paige gets up, she stands up on the rank after Naomi wins. You know, she's flying with the belt, but then she's like, "Here, shake my hand," and like they kind of had like a weird like connection there. I think something big's going to happen between the three of these at Money in the Bank, and that's all they cared about. They didn't really care about the actual match itself.
Interesting.
Well, to touch on a point that RJ said, I think the Divas division is growing a little bit, mainly when they brought up Paige, and when they're bringing up these new divas like Emma, which hasn't been seen in a couple weeks, and Paige. I think it's growing a lot.
Well, and with the reality show, which we know Retro Brett is a big fan of.
Well, they're hot chicks, so...
Retro Brett's our official Divas correspondent, so...
Yes, I am.
Check out that video, it's coming out.
Yeah, if you guys have any questions,
split off
Retro
series.
Brett's got you. So, personally, as I mentioned, I was excited to see Paige just have a nice speaking role in this episode of Raw. Hopefully we can see more of it, as I don't see her losing that championship anytime soon. This was the last announcement that we're going to talk about in part 1, and this was a big one. Triple H came out and announced the other participants in the traditional Money in the Bank contract match. Of course, the one that we knew Seth Rollins was, of course, put in by Triple H because apparently he deserved it. So we had, at this point, we had Kofi Kingston.
Yep.
No chance. Jack Swagger, you know, big guy. We'll see. Dolph Ziggler. Everybody loves Dolph. Hopefully, I mean, we've seen him win it before. We'll see. RVD kind of got in there. He deserves it.
And one in there,
count him out.
Here's an interesting guy in the event here, Corey. What do you think about BNB, Bad News Barrett, being placed in this match?
You know, I think this is definitely a really cool lineup as far as the traditional Money in the Bank match, the ladder match. As you said, we got Rollins, Kofi, Swagger, Dolph Ziggler, RVD, Bad News Barrett, and one other participant that we'll kind of get into later on part 2. But, you know, we've only got 7 guys in this match thus far.
Yep.
Traditionally, we've seen either 6-man or 8-man Money in the Bank ladder matches.
Well, I mean, Corey, keep in mind there's only 7
Gotta be
participants in the championship match, so maybe they just want to make them both 7. It's not like they're going to add another
they're both even,
member, to that
So
championship match.
That's something crazy.
Or will they? So, yeah. So I thought that was a pretty cool thing. There's definitely someone that's missing from that list of fighters there, but perhaps they'll get in. We'll see in part 2. Like you said, Corey, I think it's a great lineup. A lot of guys that may not win all the time, but certainly can be impressive, especially Dolph Ziggler. And I was kind of shocked here that Bad News Barrett was in this match, because
he's a big guy compared to the rest of them.
Yeah, I was expecting Bad News Barrett to have a title match here. Apparently that's not going to be the case. So we'll definitely get into who we think's going to win that ladder match in our Money in the Bank preview. So make sure you guys tune in, because that's definitely going to be truly exciting. I'm really looking forward to both ladder matches. And hell, this second ladder match, of course, which will be the first one, I'm assuming, the traditional one, that one might end up being better than the second one. Don't be surprised, because we've got a lot of really good fighters here. Rob Van Dam in the ladder match, that should be exciting.
He's all you need.
Yeah. Seth Rollins probably coming in as the favorite so far, Corey, you think?
Yeah, you know, as far as the entrants that we've seen announced thus far that we've covered on our Raw recap here, of course, we're going to get into more on part 2. Make sure you stay tuned. I definitely think Rollins is probably the leader of the pack there. Of course, Bad News Barrett as the Intercontinental Champion. You know, they could give him the Money in the Bank, but I feel like they need to let him build up a little bit more and really develop. I mean, he's getting good reactions. Seth Rollins is. Dolph Ziggler's getting great reactions. I wouldn't mind seeing Dolph get the Money in the Bank again.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And it seems like they keep setting up Dolph possibly for a bigger role, but every time he just gets that loss.
Pull the rug out from under him.
Yep. So, and the cool thing is, we actually did get to see Dolph Ziggler versus Bad News Barrett later on in this Raw, so definitely can't wait to talk about that, guys. In part 2, thank you all for joining us for part 1 of our WWE Raw reactions. Make sure to stay tuned. Part 2 is going to be epic, including all of the participants for the championship ladder match facing off tonight in a handicap match. Make sure to join us for part 2. We'll see you there. Peace out.